Daydream Believers with Elle and Elle.
Elle.
How the hell are ya?
I'm swell.
You're swell.
I'm swell.
That's nice.
I'm feeling so nice in our new studio setup.
Oh, me too. You got a lot of nice faces behind you.
And do you, Dan, do you. For those who are only listening and not viewing, you can jump onto YouTube and view us. But we have set up our recording studio to have all of our favorite influences.
Yes.
And when I say influences, I mean movies, TV show based, and song based.
Of course.
Behind us, I can see some Winnie the Pooh behind Elle, some Robin Williams, some Bon Jovi, of course.
Well, of course.
Steve Martin.
Yes.
The Simpsons, the Beatles.
He's my baby. Remember when I said I'd marry him?
Oh, yeah.
That still goes.
Yes. Yeah.
He's just awesome.
He's a great man. Have you been watching Only Murders in the Building?
Have I been watching it? I am dying for every episode every week.
I know.
It's been like that since the show first started.
I know.
Each time I watch an episode, I'm like, God! Every time it ends.
Probably the TV series that I look forward to coming out the most every year now.
Yeah.
I'm very keen on it. And I just love the, I think you sent me a clip of it the other day of Martin Short and Selena Gomez talking on the way that they interact with each other is so sweet.
And he keeps calling her baby. I saw a TikTok about a 24-year-old girl who became best friends with an 80-year-old man.
Yeah.
85-year-old man. And I want that. That's life goals. Like,
that's sweet.
I want what Selena Gomez has.
I think
to be best friends with men that are in their 70s or 80s.
Yeah, and gentlemen. Gentlemen. Yes, gentlemen.
But of course.
Yes. Remember that time you went to the park and you saw that man feeding the ducks?
Oh my God, I did too.
He could still be your old elderly friend.
Oh my God, I haven't seen him in a long time though.
Got to get back into the park.
Oh my God, I was walking in my local park with my son and he and this Elderman, this older man had his grandson there and then he walked me home.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was really lovely.
That's lovely.
Damn it, where is he?
What was his name? Did he tell you?
Fuck if I know.
Fair.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it would probably be it was when we first started the podcast, maybe 2 years ago. 3?
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Well, in my casual jobs I've been doing, I'm friends with a fair few older people. And when I say older people, they're not really old, but they're 20 years older than me. And
That's only 40 something.
Yeah, but they're my mum's age, so it's
It's not old.
Yeah, but one of my jobs is someone older.
Yeah.
But I've just really enjoyed I've realized as I've gotten into my later 20s that I really enjoy the company of people that are 20, 25 years older than me.
Yeah. At a minimum.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed getting to know a lot of I've been working at taking photos with a group of people the last week for work and getting to know people from international people that have moved here in their 50s.
Wow.
Has been really, really cool and just hearing people's life stories and stuff at work. It's been really cool.
Yeah, I really do love that.
Yeah.
That's one thing I think I do miss about working, outdoors and outside of my house. I guess, just kind of meeting people and getting their stories a bit.
Yeah, it's just nice. And seeing how even though people live on the other side of the world or they've done something so courageous to move to the other side of the world, but you have a conversation with them and we all just still think the same, we all still like the same music.
Yeah, it's
just
really
so
cool.
wonderful. Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. But I think that having an 80-year-old best friend would be cool too.
I just think it'd be so, I don't know, I feel like they would just teach you things that, I don't know, we don't get taught anymore.
I agree.
I don't know, just a different way of being.
For sure.
I would really enjoy that.
Do you know what made me, I wouldn't say tear up, but I was close to tearing up the other day.
Yeah.
It was a post talking about this, I think it was a daughter of an elderly man saying oh, Dad, you don't need to go to the bank. You don't have to go to the bank anymore. I'll set you up for online banking.
Yeah.
And I'll set you up for all these, so your groceries can come directly to your house and blah, 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 to help you and to make it easier.
Yeah.
And his response back was no, why would I do that? Because I get to walk to the bank every single day. I get to dress myself up. I get to walk to the bank every day. I know the people there. I get to have a conversation with someone every single day. Why would you take away the things that make my day special? like, and the interactions I have in my life, like they're some of the people at the local fruit place, like my favorite people, like what, like, and like saying, it was like a big post saying like lots of different examples of how those people like have impacted his life.
Yeah.
And it's something that like is so simple to every other generation, is like, oh, let's just automate everything. Yeah. But you forget like the whole reason why it's a pleasure to go to the groceries or like to like a local fruit and veg shop, or the pleasures of like just going and doing banking in person and having that interaction. Yeah. Really, that's a good lesson.
We've become such an isolating world.
I know.
You know, like if you really wanted to, you'd never have to leave the house.
I know, which is
order your groceries in. We don't pay our bills at the post office anymore. We pay them all online. My God, we can exercise at home.
Yeah,
all exercise equipment. You don't even have to go outside anymore.
To go shopping, to do any type of shopping, everything is here.
Any shopping, anything that requires going outside, banking. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to actually go anywhere.
And you don't even really need to see your friends face to face. You can just like talk to them online, whether it's through, you can play games with them online. You can like have a podcast with them technically online. You can have a phone call with them. You can literally do anything that you want to just through like remotely. You can work online.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like it's really it's convenient, but at what cost?
Exactly, at what cost? What kind of life is that?
Yeah. That we're also taking part in some small way, you know? It's a really eye-opening. That post really, I think I read it maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, and I haven't stopped thinking about it.
Yeah, that's really hard. I don't know, coming from like people who lived through COVID and lived that isolating life where we did not have to go out and we were forced not to go out, I never want to be that isolated ever again.
No chance.
And there is such joys in actually getting up and doing the things that you need to do rather than doing it online.
Oh, for sure. Plus, I feel like it's just a better experience all around. Like grocery shopping online is
it's never what you want it to be.
No, they don't pick things the way you would pick things.
First of all, the milk is pretty much expired, so is the bread.
Oh.
And your fruit and veg, like your strawberries are basically yellow.
Oh,
like, come on.
Oh, I
know what
exactly
I mean?
what type of strawberry.
You know what I mean? And you don't want that.
No.
Your banana's always bright green. Come on, I want to eat a banana now.
I know. That's
not in a few days.
There's something with me, right? I am so particular of when I will eat a banana because I can't help it. Like I think I told you the other day, I've been craving bananas all the time. It's like one of the only fruits that doesn't make me feel sick. And like every time I go to buy bananas, I remember going to the grocery store with mum and wanting to pick like not fully ripe, but like yellow. I'm not going to pick a green banana. And she's always the type of person to pick like, oh, so that in a couple of days they'll be ready so we get the most longevity out of the banana.
Yeah, and
I'm like, but I want to eat it now. I want I want to eat it 3 of them now. Like
here is the trick though.
Yeah.
You buy half bunches. You have like a whole bunch that's yellow, take half of them.
Yep.
And then you take half a bunch of green.
And you can merge them together.
No, well, you can't glue them together. You can't glue them together. Oh, no, I have not tried.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to you on that.
But how does one pay for that? Or you just pay for
It costs the same per kilo.
Oh, my God.
Elle, you don't pay green bananas, just ripe bananas, and then overripe bananas. You don't pay for that. They don't.
In my head, I'm like, what is this secret scam you're doing?
I'm scamming the Australian government. No, of course not. They're up
Okay, this is making much more sense.
Have you never done that? Your life's gonna change.
Okay, that's a smart idea.
You'll go a whole week without having to buy bananas, and they'll be the perfect amount of ripeness every single time you eat them.
You're changing my life right now. Last week she gave us advice on farting without sound.
They called me the advice lady.
This week, banana bunches.
Haven't you heard? I am the advice lady.
Oh
my God, changing your life on this
I know.
podcast.
I'm going to try that, Lou.
Come on, it's called a bit of common sense.
Dude, I really need to try that. I don't know why, because I always get through, like, especially because I buy them riper, I get through, like, 2-3 days, and then I have to quickly eat the last few all together because I know.
Of course. And it's the same thing with avocados.
Oh.
You buy one that's just right that you can eat today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because they can go from 0 to 100 very quickly. And then you buy a hard one. So that way in a few days, you got an avocado.
Nice. You're saving everyone multiple grocery shops.
Come on, guys. Let's be honest here.
Yes, but you know what? You do it online, they're not going to do that for us.
They're not. You're either going to get too ripe or the opposite, not ripe.
Not ripe at all.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. I feel like I'm going to look at the grocery store in a whole different light.
Yeah,
not only because I'm going to enjoy being there in person now, but I'm going to be like, I'm in person and I'm making
good choices. Smart decisions with your
my
fruit
banana
buying.
picking. Yeah.
Yes.
It's only bananas, bloody apples, and they're ruining my stomach. How's your diet going? Give everyone an update.
Yes, so I was on day 12. Well, I am on day 12 today, right?
Of the carnivore
diet. Listen, I'm going to be frank with everyone. I don't think it agreed with me.
The first week was strong.
First week, very strong. Most of second week was still strong too.
That's good.
But the last, I'm going to say 4 days, 3 days, every time I ate, I wanted to throw up. And it was, I'm not sure if the food was affecting me or if I was getting sick of the food, but I couldn't handle it anymore. I was, it was actually really getting to me. I couldn't live. I was depressed over how nauseous I felt over the food.
Yeah, I think because you're just eating, it's like anything, like if you were just given that one thing over and over, or not that there's only one thing, but that one kind of taste over and over.
I don't think I can handle. I could handle it. I'm going to be honest, but today, the day that we're filming, which is a Sunday, and this is coming out on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, I just decided to put fruit and a little bit of vegetables in. I'm not doing anything much different, to be honest. I'm still going to be very animal based, but I am adding different flavors through fruit.
Yeah.
And a little bit of vegetables.
Gives you some freshness.
Yeah, I think I need it. I don't think I can live without it. And it's not even desserts I was really hanging for or anything like that. It was mostly just a different texture in my mouth.
Yeah.
And, you know, a sweeter taste. Nothing was sweet anymore.
Yeah.
Nothing was sweet.
I know. I did come to her house the other day. She was just sipping on milk and eating little pieces of cheese.
It was really depressing. How much cheese can you eat?
Yeah.
And the thing is, right, you think about it and you're like, I can do that. Oh, I love cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can eat so much cheese.
But with something.
Yeah, but you don't realize that you're always eating something with something.
Yeah.
You don't realize that you're always eating it with. When you think about eating that thing, your mind doesn't think about that you're eating it with something else.
Yeah, because if I'm eating cheese, but I'm also having a bit of carrots. I'm also going for a cracker,
a dip, grapes.
Oh, yeah, you do love grapes with cheese.
Oh, man, I'm obsessed with grapes. And it doesn't help that, you know, my 4-year-old wasn't on carnivore. I'm not going to make him do that.
We're only eating sausages.
That's it. No, so I still had to prepare him pasta. Everything that's good in this world. So let's prepare it for him. And the smell would just drift all up into my nostrils like right into my nose. And I'd be like, I was like an addict.
Yeah.
It was horrible. But anyway, I can't call myself being on the carnivore diet anymore because I am going to eat fruit. But I'm only adding fruit, vegetables. And my protein powder. I really missed it.
Yeah, protein powder seems like it should be a given, okay, because it's protein. I feel like it's the same.
Yeah,
same
so I kept it. It's a whey protein, so it's an animal-based one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it has chia seeds and shit like that. And I don't know, you're not meant to have that on the carnivore diet. So here I am. How do you do?
Nice.
Yeah. Am I a fraud?
No, because you're saying you're not on it anymore because clearly you're not, because it's just the same. You're back to eating dairy meats, which you're already doing, and now fruit and vegetable. You're just missing breads, which is probably good because I think breads usually affect
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, and breads have a lot of sugar in them and sugars, which I think is
and other carbs like pasta, rice.
Oh, yeah.
Such.
No, I classify them in breads. I don't know why I classify them in breads. Yeah. No, I think I would have given up, and I don't think I could have even lasted the 12 days, to be honest with you. So I'm pretty proud of you. for giving it, for seeing it through that.
You don't see me in a different light now?
How?
I don't know. A person that fails and gives up.
She was already the person. You've spoken on the podcast about being that you thought you're that person so many times.
I'm only proving it time and time again. Damn it.
Nah, it's fine. I think everyone's rooting for like, even me watching you, I was like, please eat fruit sometime soon. Just because I was imagining you, every time I was like, what you have for breakfast? And you're like, eggs.
Eggs and mince. Eggs and mince.
And I'd be like,
depressing. Eggs and mince. Although, like, I have lost a little bit of weight, though, which is nice. It was a nice added thing. But you know why? Because I didn't want to eat anything. I think that's why people lose weight on the diet.
It's just like, there's no point eating at all.
Like, seriously, I stopped eating lunch because I'm like, I can't be bothered cooking. And you can't just get away with having an easy meal. You have to cook.
Yeah.
You have to pop out a frying pan.
And there's a thing where I kept on giving her options of things she could eat instead. I'm like, have some mussels, have some this, have some fish, have some blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why don't you go to the, like, you can get fish and chips and just get a grilled flake. And you're like, you can't, because she can't have oil.
Oil.
And I'm like, oil is everywhere.
Oil is everywhere. It is everywhere. So are breadcrumbs.
Oh, dude, breadcrumbs stuff me anyway. So
But they're so freaking good. No. Oh, anyway. So, yeah.
I guess the whole point was to slowly introduce things again and work out. So, I guess now that you're introducing vegetables and fruits, you work out what's actually upsetting your tummy.
Yes, that was the point. That was the point.
But
I was meant to be at the 30-day mark when that happened, not at the 12.
Hey, you're halfway, nearly.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, no.
You did it much longer than I'd ever do it.
Well, mew. Okay.
But now you're looking at, we were talking about this the other day. How much easier is it to think about going vegan now? Like, you see the options of being vegan as so, like, there's so many options compared to just...
They have so much more options.
So much variety. Like, it makes it seem so much easier to do it. When I was... Because I was trying to imagine...
you're cutting out dairy.
Oh my God, I forgot about dairy.
I don't know anymore.
It's so hard.
I don't know.
Yeah.
From someone who literally drank 20 litres of milk in the past 12 days. I don't know. I think I've developed a habit. I think I'm addicted to milk. I think I'm addicted.
I would have thought that you would have just been put off of milk by now.
It's so good. It became like crack. Do you understand how sweet it tasted to me by the end? I would drink it. It would be all over my chin. I'd be like, oh yeah. Like, it would be just, oh, give it to me. Like, give me the milk. Like, it was... That's how desperate I was for something, anything in my life to be good. Like, I was so desperate. Oh, my stomach hurts. You know what would be good right now?
Yeah.
Milk. Oh.
I am shocked that your stomach wasn't hurting the whole time you were drinking milk. That blows my mind.
Nah, wasn't dairy. Never was dairy that bothered my stomach.
At least we have learnt one thing from this carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so we have a cool episode for you guys. Our first interview of the season. Oh, no.
Oh.
Our first interview since we've been back.
Yes.
Yes.
We spoke to Mary Jo, who was also known as Walk on Mars.
Yes.
We absolutely loved her.
Honestly, she's the perfect type of girl because it's the perfect type of girl that you can imagine being friends with, like, in real life as well as virtually.
Yes,
like, I feel like she could easily be sitting right next in between us and it would just
us
flow.
On the podcast, and she can have like her green section.
Oh yeah, with
like Buttercup.
Letters.
Oh well, the offer's out there.
Yes,
Mary Jo,
please come to Australia.
Yes.
But I love talking to her so much. Walk on Mars actually has a new single out as well called Voodoo Barbie.
Which I love that name.
I love it too. It's such a great name.
Yes.
So you guys should definitely go give it a listen.
I felt like she understood me in ways that I feel like not many people understand me.
That's nice.
My fear of girls.
Oh, yes. Our mutual fear of females.
Yes.
Yes. It's an interesting thing being a girl that is... Like, I have so many female friends, but then trying to find another female friend is always a challenge for me.
Yeah.
As I've got, like, almost always. Like, I feel like there's... I don't know if it's being neurodivergent or if it's, like, every girl feels this way, but I constantly am. I don't have the envy or the jealousy or anything. I'm constantly just in a state of fear. Like I'm always in that
like they're onto you type thing.
Yeah, like, oh my god, you're gonna realize I'm not a real girl. Like that's I'm like, I am a real girl, but I don't know how to.
Yeah, like I don't know how to, girl.
I always end up saying something that's like, oh damn it, they don't watch this. Like I'm like, or like, oh damn it, like they don't really know what I'm like. My quote or my random funny thing just failed completely, and I just look like I have to explain myself over and over and over again.
You look like you were about to just take off just then.
I know, because that's how I feel.
This is very real to you, I can tell.
It's very real. Lots of therapy sessions. Like genuinely lots of therapy sessions. I don't know why. I have a good relationship with my mum and my sister. Except me and my sister grew up like boys. So, and you grew up with brothers, so maybe that's a thing. And so like we weren't really I've always been like someone that makes fun of my friends, like as a way of being
too for flinching.
Yeah, like oh my god. But yes, I'm getting frazzled because I'm thinking about my fear.
I can tell.
I'll speak. I can't.
Your veins are popping out.
No, seriously, I have a problem. I don't know why my veins always pop out. Have you seen the same one? The one that's like here, yeah.
I was joking.
Oh, but I have them.
Are you like, no, seriously, do you know what that two for flinching thing is from?
No.
The movie Atlantis.
I haven't watched that in ages.
Yeah.
That's in Atlantis?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, the girl with she wears the overalls.
I'm like trying to raven like.
You're like.
Oh yeah.
She wears the overalls and she's like two for flinching.
Oh my god, you're the way you said it, and I was like, I can see that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Atlantis was a good movie.
Great movie. Should we move on to Walk on Mars?
Yes.
We'll be right back, but before we go on our break, we must ask you a few things. Please subscribe to the podcast channel. That'd be nice. Subscribe on YouTube. How you going?
The link down below, or whatever it is. I'm always like, press the subscribe button.
Please follow us on Instagram and TikTok. That would be great too.
And if you have any friends, male or female, doesn't have to be female friends, I don't know.
Yes, but if you have a fear of women, we understand.
We understand, but if you have any friends and you would like to tell them about the podcast, that would be really helpful because word of mouth is excellent.
Yay. We'll be right back with Walk on Mars.
Making music, I think I started recording my first album as like a solo artist when I was like 10 or 11.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And I was in like R&B, that kind of stuff at first, and like pop, sometimes country. I was kind of all over the place, but I remember I don't remember it, but my first performance was whenever I was 4 years old. I was singing in my grandma's church, like for a Christmas thing.
Cute.
Yeah, so I kind of like, I think it's something that I was like naturally like, you know, born with. Like I just knew that I wanted to perform and like just make music for the rest of my life at such a young age too. So by the time I got to like 9 or 10, that's whenever I told my parents like, oh, I want to do music. And it's funny because like everybody in my family are like, everyone's into sports, and that's kind of like I played like volleyball, basketball, soccer. I played like everything under the sun. And it was like, out of the blue, just one of my parents' kids was like, no, I don't want to do sports. I want to do music. And so they tried to help me as much as they could, like, because they're coaches. So they knew like what to do for sports and how to help me like succeed in like volleyball. But for music, it was like a completely different thing. So I ended up going to the studio from a producer that we met through like a family friend. And it kind of like took off from there. And then eventually I went to college and I started doing pop punk.
It's actually quite like, I think that's why when we were scrolling through TikTok and we found you, it was so rare because I read on your bio as well, like it's kind of about defying gender norms. Like it's usually so often I'll see like covers of like punk pop songs by guy bands or like a guy doing like his rendition of something, but it's very rare I'll find like a Stacey's Mum version of a girl that's not doing it in an R&B version or like it's like still in the same version.
Yes, that's so true.
And
that's such a good point.
Yeah, and finding like females that I can listen to in the genre I love most is so exciting to me. So yeah, it was really, really cool coming across you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I'm honored that you feel that way too, just because like that's kind of what lured me into pop punk, was that there was just this gap with like women in the industry. And I love R&B, I love pop music, I love country, like I just love music overall, any genre. But whenever I got on stage and started performing like Paramore and doing covers of like Green Day and stuff like that, I just knew that was where I wanted to be, and like I could be myself the most in that genre. So it's really cool how, and it's not just like me, of course, like there are so many cool women in the industry. Cassidy Pope went from country to pop punk now. There's Edith from Meet Me at the Altar. Like it's really cool to see a lot of women breaking into the industry in like modern day pop punk. It's like what I've
really awesome.
Always wanted. Yeah,
and it really suits you. You look very natural doing it.
Yeah, and your voice matches it very nicely. We
perfectly.
Keep listening to the like your music and even like your covers, and we keep trying to work out who you sound like, because there's something that's like so familiar but like not identical to anyone else, but we can't like put our finger on it, and it's driving us insane.
I know.
It's been driving us insane. We're like, it sounds like something. Yeah, but yeah, you've got a very, very beautiful voice, and you can definitely tell that you're like technically trained.
Thank you. Yeah, I started actually, whenever I started taking voice lessons, I did classical music. So I did like a lot of opera and Broadway and that kind of stuff. I feel like a lot of singers will start there, especially when you're in school. You have like the musical theater programs, and so you get into that, and that's like the like gateway into like music. And if you enjoy it, you'll go further with it, or you'll go into different genres after high school and stuff. So like I started with classical music and Broadway, and then took off from there. But I like to kind of every now and then, like you'll hear in some of my covers or even in my own original music, I'll do like little like atmospheric like opera vocals just to fill the space. So it's cool to like bring that back, and I get to do that in pop punk because like it's so subtle, but you can get away with it in punk music. It's
that
cool.
Is so
true.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
but
it.
It's so awesome to hear that you bring like the classical side into the modern music, because there's not enough classical in modern music anymore. Yeah. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love doing it. I feel like I wouldn't ever go back to just doing classical music because it's just not my thing. But it's it's kind of breaking the norm of the where classical music stands and where it's quote unquote like supposed to be placed in music. To throw it in a punk genre is kind of crazy because it's a completely different stereotype.
I love it. You just wouldn't think to find it there. You wouldn't think it at all.
But when you're listening to punk music and like, or even just rock music in general, you sort of can see how it fits so well. But like the people that would generically listen to classical music would be like,
not the rock and roll,
not the sex and drugs.
No, exactly.
When it comes to your like covers and like your content for TikTok and Instagram and stuff, like for like I think the first video I came across was your Stacey's Mum like version. Like how are you is songwriting like something you feel like you studied to learn, or is that something that like when you were 10 years old making songs, like you were just like it began there?
It definitely started whenever I was really young. I wrote a lot of songs. They weren't very good, but I started. It was like I think I remember, and I haven't really like talked about this in a really long time, but I do remember one of my first songs that I've ever written, and it literally the title was called "Sad."
I love that.
And I had to have been in like first, second grade, and I was just like, man, it all like loops back around, and now I'm making emo music, so it's just like, man, I guess I was really sad, but no.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet though.
Oh my gosh, it was fun. I used to write song lyrics in class, and that never stopped. I ended up doing it like the whole way through high school and still in college. My dad was my history teacher in high school.
Are you serious?
Your parents seem so talented.
I know.
History and sport. Wow.
I know. I was the one person in my family who was not very good at history. And it was probably because I used to write song lyrics in his class. And I remember the one time I wrote this song called Warrior, and it was because we were talking about, it was like the Civil War or something, and so I started using like metaphors from using like, you know, battle and war, and like putting them into like lyrics. And my dad was walking past me, and I was pretending to take notes, but I was writing these lyrics, and he saw it, and he picked up my paper and read it out loud to the class, and it was
God.
It was the most embarrassing thing ever, but at the same time, like, everyone was like, wow, those were really good, Mary.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
You should keep songwriting. So, because my dad was really supportive. He laughed about it. He never really got mad at me, but you know, he's my dad, so he kind of picked me out at that point. But no, but after that, like, I also did like poetry for a while, and I don't know. I love writing these rewrites. Of course, Jax kind of started it all, that content creator.
Yes,
now,
that's right.
And now she's like popping off with her original music just because like you could tell that she's an amazing songwriter just by her rewrites. And I was like, you know what? Like, I want to kind of get my foot in the door that way, because it's just so much fun to do, you know, writing for different perspectives and stuff.
Yeah, and 100%. I guess you get to pick your own brain that way and kind of practice your skills.
Yeah,
as well.
Because you're already putting the music to a melody that's already written and like a storyline that's sort of already there. It's like you finding new words to explain the same thing, but maybe from a different perspective.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's actually harder than people think to do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult. Once you get to a point of like I write so many songs a day, and I don't know how to word this properly, but like, you start to understand your own emotions to the point where it's like so easy to just write it down on a piece of paper, and then it makes it easier to write a song. You know what I mean? Like, the more you write, the better you get. And it's just it's not just because of like the skill side of it. It's also just getting to know yourself, and, you know, getting to know how to put into lyrics like what you're feeling, or, you know, what somebody else is feeling. It's a really cool thing. It's very therapeutic too.
Yeah, it would be. But it sounds like you're very emotionally intelligent to be able to be so in tune with your feelings. Like, even from a young age, being in grade 1 and you're writing a song called Sad. Like, even at that age, you were kind of in tune with perhaps how you were feeling at the time.
Yeah, I think it also had a lot to do with the musicians I listened to at the time, because my parents used to complain that I only like performed sad songs, and it was because I loved like Demi Lovato and Taylor Swift and Adele, and a lot of their music at the time that I was listening to, it was very sad, and so you know, but they made me feel something, and like, I found that to be like super powerful. So I wanted to make other people feel something. So it didn't actually start out with like me writing a song called Sad because I was feeling sad. It started out as like me wanting to write a song that was relatable to other people, so that I can make people feel the way that like Demi made me feel, and Taylor, and all these artists that I like aspired to be, you know?
Yeah, plus sad songs, melancholy songs that don't sound necessarily melancholy sometimes are my favorite kind of songs.
Yeah 100%.
Oh yeah
I feel
definitely.
Like, isn't it crazy thinking back to your like 6-7-year-old self in like first or second grade? Because I did something similar. Like, I used to write songs as well, just obviously it never went anywhere, but they always used to have like a one-word title, or be like why, or like how, and like random things like that. And it's funny, like, looking back and thinking about like the mind frame I was in back then was so sassy, and like this is my like Kelly Clarkson moment. Like, But it's like, but you realize that you're like 6 or 7 years old. I'm like, where was that behavior learned from? Like, how did I learn to like?
Well, I'm guessing it would be from the music around you and from television.
Yeah, so true. Television, and like I think shows like, I don't know how old you are, but like I used to watch Unfabulous, which is like some show.
Yeah, my God.
And like she just songwrites the whole time, or watching like Victorious or just Big Time Rush, like those type of shows where everyone's like a musician and they're all like, or That's So Raven, even because she was so like sassy as she did things.
Yeah.
I was like, I like really tried to embody that as a child.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like you also mentioned how like the song titles were always like one word, or they were like just super simple and stuff. And like if you think about it, because we're so young, like our vocabulary isn't that,
so true,
broad. So like that also makes a difference, because if I don't remember the lyrics of Sad at all, and that's probably a good thing, but like I do remember that it was just, they were very straightforward. I didn't really know what a metaphor was. Like there was no depth to it, but that was just because of my age. And then like you were saying, just like being inspired by the things around you. And when you're a kid, you're literally absorbing everything around you, and you're learning so much. And so if you're exposed to music at a young age, of course you're going to give it a shot. And it might be really basic at first, but that's where everybody like gets started, It's cool.
It's so true. I think, I really liked what you said earlier as well about like how articulating your emotions is like key, because I follow a lot of like songwriting, like TikTokers and like reel makers that like teach you how to break down like how to write a song, just for the sake of it. Like it might still be a dream one day. Like almost always, they always bring up like the fact that like tapping into your own emotions and using it in that way is like brings out the best songs. And it's such an, like, I feel like I agree with you. Like even now when I feel like sometimes I will sit down and kind of like write out like a few little like a little paragraph, and I find it so therapeutic, because whatever I felt the need to put in that paragraph that day, like that tends to have like some sort of rhythm to it. Like even if I think they're mindless things I'm writing down, when I read them again, I'm like, holy shit, like I realized why that came into my mind. Like I obviously was feeling this type of way.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like it like weirdly is therapy, and it like teaches me like, oh, like I really am still attached to this unrequited love I have. Like
Yeah. And I have a lot of I call them like diary songs. Where I mentioned that I write a lot of songs, even just in a day. Like today I already wrote one. And it's like,
wow.
But a lot of them will be diary songs, which are songs that are like super personal, and like, sometimes I'll be like, okay, this is good enough, like I should release this. But other times I write these songs for myself, and like it is a way for me to get in touch with my emotions and understand what I'm feeling. And I mentioned before about like writing from other people's perspectives, especially with what I'm doing on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, is like sometimes whenever I'm not understanding what I'm feeling, looking from another perspective and like writing down their experience and what they're feeling helps me get more in touch with my own emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
100%.
Like other people who are going through the same experiences as me, and it's like I'm trying to, just college graduating, for example, like the stress of just the unknown, like what am I going to do after school, that kind of thing. I look around me and I see all of my friends stressing about the same thing, and sometimes whenever you're not in touch with your own emotions, you still feel a lot for other people, and you understand other people's emotions more than your own. So it's a weird concept, a little bit confusing, but that's why I love just, perspective writing and stuff, because it's really helpful, and it also just improves my songwriting in general too.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it would.
I think that it's also like, how some people find like they're not feeling creative in a certain period of time, or they're not feeling inspired in a certain period of time. I feel like doing those perspective sort of songs would be really helpful in those sort of times when, like you said, you can't get to your own emotion because like for whatever reason. And then, but you can still keep practicing the tool that you're trying to like get better at, because you already have like a guideline of like, okay, well, like I can still be creative because I'm looking at it from someone else's perspective. I don't have to like go internally at first. So like the creative spark is sort of like, you don't have to think of the idea anymore. You just have to pick a song and sort of like begin.
Yeah,
like an already
absolutely.
established song, which is pretty, I think that like would really help writer's block. Like, but that's me not being a writer, so I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe you're blocked to get to that point.
Yeah, perhaps I shall try.
I really want to know about the song New York Beach. I think that is my favorite. I really love it.
I'm so glad it's your favorite because it's as for like the songs that we have released right now, it's probably my favorite as well.
Oh, I was gonna ask you that as well. Good.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's got to be my favorite. Our first album is very like a lot of the stuff on it is very heavy and more so like leaning towards hard rock. And I'm still kind of like a pop girl at heart. And at the time we had other instrumentalists that I was working with who preferred like the heavier rock stuff, and I was just, I was experimenting around and whatnot. But when it comes to the newer stuff that I've been making and stuff that I'm getting ready to release, it all like kind of goes back to New York Beach, which is like the one very poppy song on our album, very Cage the Elephant, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that one has a special place in my heart too, just because I wrote it about Fire Island, New York, which is it's just like a little island off of Long Island that my great grandfather built a beach house on, and he was the one that got me into music, and he's the reason why I use my middle name, because his name's Joe.
I love that.
So the reason why thank you. Yeah, he was amazing. He played the guitar in this band called the Cornhuskers. Actually, behind me, I actually have the guitar. You could see it a little bit.
Wow, yeah.
That's so awesome.
But that was in like the 40s, 50s, and he played the harmonica. And I remember as a kid, we'd be at the beach house and on Fire Island, and we'd be dancing around to the music that he'd play. And he really inspired me. And so the first instrument that I picked up, of course, after like starting to sing and stuff, was the harmonica, just like in honor of him. And so to have the first song be released, to have a first song that was released as Walk on Mars be in New York Beach, and it be about like my experience at the beach house and about like my great grandfather and stuff, that meant like everything to me. And it's still my favorite to this day just because of that,
That makes so the lyrics just so much more special. Like, I really love the line, and I don't remember it exactly, but where it's like, if we can't make it, then take me to a New York beach. Like, right. That is so beautiful. I don't know, that just kind of struck a chord with me, that knowing that there's an emotional reason behind that beach. Yeah. Like, that's really lovely.
Definitely.
I know, I found myself really getting a little bit emotional just then.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like, because my grandfather passed away a couple months ago, and like, I feel like, there's a really special bond between like just a grandparent that you like was there in those like early developing moments of your life, and that actually made an impact. It's so beautiful. And at least you aren't the only person in your family that does music. Like he obviously got it from him, which is so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I again, like I try to, honor that just by having like my middle name in my artist name, like making sure it's Mary Jo Swank, because I was named after him. And I was really young whenever he passed away, but like for him to have like spent such like little time in my life, but to have like impacted me as much as he has, it's like, I just know that this is what I want to do. And I know that like he's kind of by my side every step of the way. And New York Beach is definitely like in honor of him. I wanted to write a song that was, about Fire Island, and about like how, whenever I'm in my saddest moments, I just think of the island, and I think about those memories that I have with him and my family. And it's cool because every summer, except for this last summer because we were a little bit busy, but every summer we go up to that, it's called like the specific section of the island is called Atlantique. So we go to Atlantique and we perform at this place called The Shack that I used to get ice cream at growing up whenever I was little. And so I know the owner really well, and so I'll come back and perform there, and they love New York Beach because, of course, everyone knows that it's about Fire Island. So it's so sweet. So it's awesome.
That's so special. I love that so much.
I really love that you're holding on to those connections that made you who you are, and it's very present in your music. I really love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so important to me to just remember where I came from and remember my roots, you know. I have a big family too. There's 6 of us. And so like we have so
Yeah.
many memories because we were each other's best friends, and that beach house is kind of at the center of all of that. So
That's so
I love
special.
that.
yeah,
Oh, I love
thank
that
you.
so much. That's
Oh.
so cool. Walk on Mars, the name, how did you come up with that?
So funnily enough, we were just kind of like talking about like women in the pop punk industry. Um, as I said before, I also started in R&B, pop country, that kind of stuff, and I was that girl next door, small town performer with a guitar, and like I didn't really have a band at the time. So whenever I switched to the pop punk genre, it was a little bit hard for me to gain a lot of respect from either previous like followers, people who knew my like old music, or just people in the industry, just because looking at like a solo female musician going into the pop punk industry and not really having experience there, like it was kind of frowned upon. And I got turned away from a lot of venues. And so I eventually started a band, and I was playing with a group of like really cool guys. I'm still friends with them till this day. But when we were talking about coming up with the band name, I wanted to relate it to my experience feeling like kind of like I'm from a different planet, like I'm coming from a completely different world, changing genres. And you know, I was also moving into Boston. I'm from southern Pennsylvania, small town called Boswell, but moving into the big city and you know, changing a genre and getting a band, there was just a lot of change happening for me, and I was feeling really separated from everybody else in the industry. So I decided, of course, to use Mars, because that's
Yeah.
you know, that's just like probably the coolest planet in my opinion. And we were like, oh
yeah,
should we we were like, should we do like Life on Mars, but that's a David Bowie song. Do we do like Jump on Mars? And we ended up doing Walk on Mars, and it flowed really nicely. Somebody ended up calling us WOM, and I really liked it.
WOM, yeah.
I really like that.
I love the way it looks like the W and the M, they even each other out.
It just like looks nice too. It's just nice to look at. It's easy to say, easy to remember. So
yeah, it flows really nice. And I also like in your bio how it's 29.9 seconds to Mars.
Oh
like,
my gosh, it's that was just because every time I would tell people that our name was Walk on Mars. In fact, somebody like announced us onto the stage as 30 Seconds to Mars, and I was like, whoa. I was like, hilarious. No. Like, people just constantly are comparing us to 30 Seconds to Mars, and it's just because of course, Mars. And then the other one that we get mistaken with is Walk the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
And what was really funny about that is we just played a show called Thon. It's in Penn State, Pennsylvania. The college does like a huge fundraiser for kids with cancer at the Bryce Jordan Center. And I've played since I was a kid. And this year they always have like a huge like band or an artist perform. And this year, Walk on Mars and Walk the Moon were playing.
That's hilarious.
That is so confusing.
I love it.
It was crazy. And so everyone was like, you know, obviously making content and like posting like flyers and stuff with Walk on Mars and Walk the Moon, because it just like worked so well. But yeah, the 30 Seconds to Mars one is probably more common. So I decided to just do 29.
Just kind of run with it.
Yeah, just run with it. I'll own it. It's fine.
You get there first.
Yeah.
Before Jared Leto.
So before it was 29.9 seconds to Mars, it actually was 30 seconds to Mars, but we made it there first. And so I
like that.
And I liked that too, but then I was just like, no, I feel like we should just shorten it to 29.9 seconds to Mars. It gets the point across.
I love that.
Love it.
Yeah, it definitely does get the point across.
Yeah.
So cute.
I'm glad you appreciated that, though.
No, I really loved that. I loved it.
So one of the questions we ask all of our guests is to list out 3 songs that they feel a personal connection to and why. So we'd love to hear your first song.
Ooh, okay. So the first one, I'm gonna say Skyscraper by Demi Lovato.
Ooh.
And
very nice.
It's because when it comes to like the first performance that I really remember doing, it was my 5th grade talent show, and I sang Skyscraper. Aww. And I still have the video of it, and I was a nervous wreck. I was wearing like this orange and gray striped shirt with like a collar on it. It was awful, but
okay, I'm imagining this.
Yeah, it's really hard to imagine, but it's just as bad as it sounds. But I just like that song at the age that I was, being in 5th grade. You know, as a girl, you're going through a lot, and you're starting to grow into your body, and like, you know, meet new people, and school can get difficult, and people can be mean.
Yeah.
And so,
oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. And Skyscraper really connected with me because, you know, it was relatable. And again, like I said before, like at the time I wanted to be able to make music that was just as relatable as like Skyscraper was for me. So that song, as I just always have connected with it on different levels, and it's like special to me because it was like, to me, one of the first songs that I performed in front of an audience. And I just saw Demi Lovato live for the first time last year, and
that's so
whenever
cool. So
when she played Skyscraper, you can like hear me in the background of my video like sobbing. I was like, I waited for so long to hear this live, like so that has to be the first moment.
That's such a full circle moment. That's awesome. That's such a good choice. I love when an artist because if that's what's inspired you to like write a song that makes you feel the way that song made you feel, like her job as an artist is done by just like touching you in that way, and all it takes is you doing that to someone else for you to get the message, like for you to
absolutely,
you know?
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
And she also so when she released her rock album, I was so excited because Disney Demi Lovato rock was like my favorite era of music.
With her knees.
Yes. Oh, and her knees. Yeah. So when she released it, I did a cover of the song 29, and she ended up liking it. She liked it on TikTok.
That is so good.
That is amazing.
I really like that song.
Ooh. Yeah, I was recording when I saw the notification come up on my phone, and I like stopped, and I had to like tell my producer and like everyone around me about it, because I was just it was just so surreal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Demi is like one of my biggest influences for sure.
That's so awesome. I've watched a couple of videos of you performing her like music before, but like that is actually insane.
That
like,
is insane.
To
be recognized.
To be recognized for like your talent as well.
Oh my gosh.
It's such especially when it's an artist that you care so much about, and they actually truly impacted you. It's such a beautiful feeling when that happens.
Yeah. I cried for like 3 days straight. Yeah.
Understandable.
Oh my God. That is so cool.
Yeah, it was
so
awesome.
sick.
And then the second song I would choose would be Disenchanted by My Chemical Romance.
Very nice.
Very good choice.
My Chemical Romance is they are my favorite band of all time. And Disenchanted specifically connected with me because it's just a song about just being able to recognize the important things in life, like what's important and what isn't, and things that like you should appreciate and value over things that are artificial and temporary. And that song just helps me kind of ground myself and appreciate the moment a bit more, because the whole like Black Parade album is like just like about death and like the process of death, and it's really heavy. But Disenchanted is one of those songs where it's from the perspective of someone who is like dying, and they're reflecting on their life, and they're like, wow, I spent my whole life just wanting to be like huge and famous and wanting all the like material things, and I like longed for those things so much that I forgot to appreciate like the people around me and the good parts of my life, the things that I should have been appreciating more. And so that song helps me stay in tune with what's going on around me, and appreciate what I have. For sure.
I love
that is
so
brilliant.
much.
And I think as a musician, that is exactly what you need to have someone like a song or something to inspire you to remember to be who you are and to respect everything around you and love everyone around you. I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, a beautiful way to ground yourself constantly. And like, at least, you know, like, especially as you're up and coming and you're getting like the recognition you want in your career, like it helps you not stray away from where your your initial values and intention was at. It's beautiful.
Definitely. Yeah. For sure. And then like the last song, I was thinking, I was like fighting between two, but I think I'm gonna go with another Demi one. I Love Me, which is like a newer one featuring Travis Barker.
Okay, I haven't listened to that.
So she released I Love Me as like a pop song, and then Travis Barker did like a remix, and so she ended up just releasing it under her name too. And I was excited because this was like one of the first steps in for like Demi to get it back into rock music, so that was cool.
Yes.
But the song itself is just so well written. The lyrics, the lyrics are clerics. That's what I call clever lyrics, apparently.
Oh, nice.
So
they're clerics.
I was gonna say the lyrics are clever, but I said clerics, so we're just gonna run with it.
That is so
I like
good.
it.
I like that, actually.
We're gonna use that from now on. They're clerics.
But
I really like that.
The lyrics are super clever and like it's a very fun, upbeat song, and it's just about loving yourself, and it's about appreciating who you are and like loving who you are. And you know, I feel like in today's day and age, not a lot of people appreciate themselves as much as they should.
So true.
I agree.
Yeah, confidence is everything, but it's also really difficult, especially in this genre, because most of the time, if you're into pop punk and like emo music, you're an overall kind of like sad person. Not to like to say that in a bad way. Just I find myself to have those moments of feeling like super insecure, and that's like one of the first songs I would turn on to just feel good about myself. So
I love that so much.
I really love that. What great explanations to all your songs.
Yeah. You explain
you.
them very, very well. I can really tell that you're very in tune with your emotions, and like you like you're open-minded, but you also haven't forgotten who you are, and like what that initial spark you had for music, that hasn't died at all. You can really tell.
You can tell.
Yeah, you really have like harnessed that nicely. And I think like I think a true music lover, like even ourselves, like we still love the music we listened to when we were like in primary school, because like that music is like every time I still need to feel like myself, I'll still go listen to the same artist. Like for me it's like Kelly Clarkson, but like for you it's Demi Lovato, and you'll still go find that you're like their stan forever because they meant so much to you at such a crucial age as well. And
absolutely. Yeah, and it ties to I was getting started in the music scene at that like young age, and she was the one that I was listening to, so for her to like continue to be my inspiration till this day, like it kind of shows how I never let go of music. And like I appreciate you saying that too, because I feel like obviously I know how much I love music, but whenever other people see that and they appreciate the work that you do, it's like a completely different feeling. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I really like, the more I'm like seeing, I really see the influence of Demi Lovato as well. Yeah. Like throughout your music as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's still not the sound that I was thinking of, but I like of what your voice sounds like, but I don't know.
Oh man, if you think of it, you'll have to like send me a message and like tell me.
As soon as Elle came over today, I was like, I can't figure out who she sounds like, but she sounds like someone. And we've both just been trying to figure out who you sound like.
Because like you have like there's sometimes
there's definitely influences.
Yeah, there's sometimes that you'll sing and I can hear like weirdly Katy Perry, like weird, like the tonage, right?
Okay,
not the style at all, but like there's slight tone that's similar to her, like her tone. But then also I can hear you have like the training of like, or like you have it within you to be like an Evanescence, I feel.
Yes.
Like I can definitely hear that like that more classical, like opera, like almost opera style within you.
Well, yeah, it just goes to show.
Yeah. But then at the same time, you don't sound like them that much, so it's like very hard to like pinpoint.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Yeah, I've definitely gotten like the Evanescence comparison before.
Yeah.
I get like the Katy Perry, Christina Aguilera, like comparisons too, just because it's like whenever people talk about how I sound like Katy Perry in some points of songs, it's like the same reason why it's like Christina Aguilera. It's very like kind of like growly. If I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Growly.
No, you're correct. It was so I had to replay. I was like, no, she sounds like Katy Perry in this specific part of this part of the video. Yeah. Out of all your covers, which one do you reckon is your like, or your perspective shift ones? Which one's your favorite one that you've done? Or like, was there one where you wrote it and you're like, holy shit, like I like this is like an amazing, like I'm so proud of this work. Which is all of them, but like extra.
This is definitely a hard one. Okay, so the one that I'm thinking of right now is actually one I haven't posted yet, but I'm posting it literally. I'm literally posting it tomorrow. I have it ready to go.
Oh, that's so exciting.
I did a rewrite to Sabrina Carpenter's Nonsense.
Yay!
Nice.
I love Sabrina.
I love Sabrina, yeah. But I like flipped the perspective to be like someone, I'm actually singing about someone who's toxic. And so I just have a lot of like lyrics, clever lyrics. That I'm like really proud of. So nice. I'm really excited to post that one just because I feel like it's relatable, it's fun, lighthearted, and you know, I don't know, it's Sabrina and it's like kind of different than what I usually do. But my second answer as to like one that is actually out right now would probably just be Stacy's Mom. Like when I wrote that, I was like, this is so goofy, and that was the best part about it for me because it was the first time that I really like went out of the way to show my personality and like in my writing, and you know, to make people laugh is pretty awesome, you know.
Yeah,
I agree.
It was cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is cool because it's like you're giving perspective, you're being goofy within it, and even the way you're performing it in your videos as well.
Yeah,
you have, like,
the facial expressions.
The facial expressions, everything in your sound is so good.
I love it.
I like it too.
I love it, and the look to the side, like, I love that.
Literally, so that started a while ago. There was one video, I can't remember which one it was, that I posted where I was just like making all these like weird facial expressions, and somebody commented something about my eyebrows and how they have like a mind of their own, and that like whenever I make these
expressive.
It started like a chain of comments just about my facial expressions and my eyebrows. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run with it.
Ride that wave.
Yeah, ride the wave.
That's exactly what I did.
It's getting people on your page to comment about the eyebrows. That means it's going out further into the algorithm anyway.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't even have to try because I just like naturally make those faces whenever I do it. So it's just goofy. But
I love it. So you're one of those people that can't hide their emotions because of the eyebrows. Because they're always like
oh my gosh, even like my like stank face too. I like sometimes whenever I'm like cringing at things, like my face just instantly just goes into cringe mode. And like I'm like, okay, Mary, like stop, like I have to like remind myself, like don't make a face right now, like let it go.
I feel the same way. I used to always, you know, when you'd go to a party when you were in like high school and there'd be like a photographer there and you'd find the photos on like, if there's still things back then, there's like photographers. And every time there was like a photo where I was like on a side angle or I was like just far in the distance, it's like my face in like complete fear.
Such a
like,
face you make.
Like literally my eyebrows like used to always, like I got Botox literally to stop it because they used to just always be like this, like halfway up my forehead. Freaking. And I'd be like in every photo, like I'd be like, like I can't hide any emotion. I thought I looked suave. Like I didn't look suave at all.
No, that's so funny. God. That's so good. It was actually a party that I was thinking of whenever I mentioned the stank face, because somebody said something that was just like really out of pocket, and like I like just had this face of like just like that was bad. Like
I said, I can't lift my eyebrows like that.
She has her eyebrows naturally. Yours are so movable.
Yeah, I can do this one, but that's it.
I can't.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I love it.
Oh
it's
man,
so cool.
This is weird.
No, it's cool. She's like the Cadbury ad. I don't know if you guys had it in America, but there was like this Cadbury ad where the girl like moved her eyebrows. Oh, do you guys have Cadbury?
Yeah. So it is, but in part, like in Boston, I find a lot of Cadbury chocolate. Like I love Cadbury chocolate.
It's the best.
I love Cadbury chocolate. Best chocolate, absolutely. My favorite chocolate of all time. This is a hot take. Marvelous Creations.
Oh, yes,
delicious,
love
delicious
it.
Stuff.
Love Marvelous Creations.
When I explain that to all my friends, like here in America, and I'm trying to be like, it has like jelly beans and like those like Pop Rocks in it.
The Pop Rocks get me.
What the heck is this?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you gotta try it. But what brought up the Cadbury chocolate?
Oh, there's like an ad. There was an ad a few years
commercial
back. Yeah, that was like a little girl like eating the chocolate, and her eyebrows were like, "Rrr."
Yeah.
And you reminded me of it.
I don't know if I could.
Oh my god,
Nah.
I love it.
I can't do a wave of any sort, but
That was close enough.
so funny.
Better than us. No, that's so awesome. I feel like, I also like the way that you have like a Shigo vibe. I don't know if you watched Kim Possible when you were younger, but because you have that lime green in the background and you've got like dark hair, I'm like, oh, so Shigo.
That's
So
awesome.
good.
That's the first time I've ever been compared to her, but that's like kind of badass. That's awesome. That's cool.
The first thing I thought, I was
And
like,
the
I love this.
Powerpuff Girl. I'm
yeah.
forgetting
Like
her name. Buttercup.
Yes,
I thought Buttercup was Buttercup.
It is Buttercup, yeah.
It's Buttercup, yeah.
The green one, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
who I was thinking. Very
Yeah.
Buttercup.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. She was my favorite out of the three.
She was my favorite.
So, like, that's awesome.
Yeah, because she was
my favorite.
angry and she couldn't hide her expression. It was us. Like,
she was
there
like,
you go.
do we all like Harry Potter here?
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
You'd be in Slytherin, right? You are a
Oh
Slytherin
yeah.
girl. Like, come on.
I would want to be. Yeah.
I would want to be
Yeah,
as well.
take the Pottermore test. I am a Slytherin girly.
I took it once a while ago, and I'm pretty sure I got Slytherin, but then I took it again like right after, and I like changed my answers just to see.
And then you
And
get
I ended up.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah. Oh God.
No.
I remember I had this like hatred for Ravenclaw. Like I just did not want to be in
Right.
Ravenclaw.
Just too smart.
No.
Yeah.
Too
I was
smart,
just
right?
like,
Because even
I
to get into
couldn't.
their common room, you have to answer a bloody riddle. It's like, calm yourselves down.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like I don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of like know-it-alls. Like I don't
Exactly.
God, I already have that in my normal life.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah,
surrounded
for
by know-it-alls. Like,
Yeah.
so true. I don't know why Ravenclaw is like the for me. I feel like everyone that's in
See,
Ravenclaw.
it's usually Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
People don't like Hufflepuff for sure.
Yeah,
But it sounds cute.
I don't want. This sounds bad, but like the leftovers go to Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
like
that's
the people
definitely
who
true.
don't have like any
redeeming qualities.
not redeeming
redeeming-
qualities,
But, like,
any
like
talents.
outstanding talents.
Outstanding talent. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
They're not
kind of-
brave.
yeah,
They're not
they're like,
smart.
we don't really know where else to put you, so we'll put you in Hufflepuff. Yeah,
They just accept everyone.
yeah, for sure.
They sound nice. Open-minded.
It's lovely.
But
You
yeah,
just don't want to be in it.
Yeah, you don't want to be in it.
Yeah.
I want to be in Slytherin.
You can
But-
appreciate it from afar.
Yeah, exactly. One of the last questions we ask all our guests is to let us know if you could go back in time to, or not even go back in time, but if you could speak to your younger self, what would you say to them? Like something that they would maybe need to hear at a certain age, or advice you would give, just any, or like any scenario you can think of that they really needed you.
When I was younger, I'm still really loud, but like I was really, really loud and very outgoing. And at one point, I kind of lost a lot of that in between like 6th, 7th grade. Things were changing. I was changing, and, people started calling me annoying. And before that didn't really bother me. I had the nickname of being Loudmouth Mary, and like,
Oh my gosh.
so
it was
rude.
bad. And it was like, friends, like family, like I know like my siblings, we bicker back and forth, but
Yeah.
like at that time you take everything so personally. And so I was very annoying, and I would sing constantly. And that kind of, going into school was like a different story, and going into school and hearing that from like my friends or like whoever. And so I shut down, and I got really quiet, and I stopped like belting, and I was just a very, I used my falsetto and head voice like only because I didn't want to be too loud. There was another like girl in the class who was a singer, but she just like always, you know, wanted to be louder than me, and I just kind of let her have that. And I think, you know, going back to your question, I would probably tell my younger self to just like never shut up and to not like listen to them, because she heard that a lot. And being an adult and being older, I can understand how that was annoying, but I also am like, you know, I was a kid and I was just doing what I loved.
You were being yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
There shouldn't be anything wrong with that. It shouldn't be annoying.
No, exactly.
Yeah. And now, like, you know, I own it. Like, I know I'm loud when I sing, and I know I like belt a lot and I talk a lot. But, you know, I've gotten to the point where I'm just accepting of that, and I wish I would have done that at a younger age, because, you know, I think little Mary needed that. So, yeah, that's such a cute question. I love that question. That's adorable.
Thank you. You answered that very, very well. Like, and I really love that you like took us back to that like age range, because I think a lot of people just kind of not dismiss that question, but like they kind of think of a specific like moment, and then they kind of, it's more to do with like, oh, just feel the feelings that you're feeling, like you can get through that feeling. But I like that, which I agree with, like all of that stuff as well. But I like that you're also like kind of telling yourself, it's very inner child work what you're saying. It's like, I'm telling myself, hey, you are enough as you are, and you are allowed to be loud. Like, because I think so many young girls, especially like we started off maybe really expression, like with a lot of expression, and like I was a very big chatterbox when I was younger. And then after a few people calling you that, or like whether it's family members or friends, like kind of making comments, or teachers making comments, like you slowly shut down that part of you. And you like what you said, you just like end up like, you like just mask yourself in that kind of space. Like, you know which spaces you're allowed to be loud at, and you know which spaces you're like not accepted to be that real version of yourself in. And unfortunately for a lot of people, like myself included, that might have started when you were like 10 years old or even younger, but it doesn't go away so easily. Like it takes a long time for you to realize that you're allowed to speak up for yourself again, and that you're allowed to like use your voice again.
Especially as like a young girl too. I feel like and I hope that I'm right whenever I say that I think this is like changing, but you know, as when you're young as like a female too, like you're kind of like pushed into this idea where, you know, you have to be very conserved, and like you have to be like super humble and like really like modest, not just like, I'm not even talking about what you wear, but I'm talking about like how you go about your life. Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
And, like you have to be this reserved person, and you're never allowed to be yourself. And like my friends were like guys growing up, and you know, that was the time where I felt like I could be myself. But then in other settings around other people, it was just like completely different for me. You know, I wanted to be one of the guys, because I saw the guys as these people who could be themselves, and it was funny. And you know, if I said the same joke that my guy friend said to me, like at that time, like no one would laugh, because I was the one saying it, because it's like disrespectful. So it's disrespectful for like a young girl to be making a joke like that, or you know, it's girls aren't funny, and like that kind of thing always pissed me off, which also, you know, makes me feel like really good whenever it comes to my rewrites now, because now I'm able to make these jokes and make people laugh, and I'm a girl, and everyone told me girls aren't funny growing up. So it's like it's just hard to see that, especially when it does happen nowadays, because things are supposed to be changing and we are supposed to, you know, be growing, and like I don't know, it's just hard to see, just to watch young girls struggle to be themselves because they're like told that they're not allowed to. So
I completely agree.
And it's hard to let go. I feel like when you learn habits like that as a kid, it's those habits that are extremely hard to break. Like if I even for example, like the way I react to something bothering me, like I have a young son, he's nearly 4 years old. Sometimes when he gets me frustrated, I tend to act the way I did as a kid, and like I'll go to my room and be like, and it's just because it's so ingrained in me to act like that. And I find that when something happens to you, perhaps you're bullied about something or something like that, or being too loud, for instance, I find for me that if that triggers me, if something triggers that child in me, I immediately act like how I did as a kid. Like, so it literally, it's like it brings it back. So it's really hard to let go. Really hard.
Yeah. And that's why inner child work is so important, like to talk to your like little version of yourself in those moments and just be like it's okay, like you're not getting, like they were wrong for bullying you. And almost like talking back to that to like therapize you. What were you going to say? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, and adding to that point too, and the point that I was going to say before is like you know, you recognize that the older you get, like the more like your childhood kind of like loops back around. But also just like, I don't know, like the idea of always blaming yourself and saying like, you know, this is my fault and this is like, you know, like my bad, I was doing this wrong, when in reality you really weren't. But once you're gaslighting yourself into believing that you're in the wrong because you're being too loud, you believe it to the point where you never learn that just isn't the truth. So like, how are you supposed to change that in adulthood? You know, because if you don't have anybody there to tell you like, hey, no, you didn't do anything wrong, or your joke was funny, or, you know, you could speak your mind if you're upset about something or something makes you uncomfortable, like you should say something. If you're never told that that's okay as a kid, as a young girl or whoever, like you're never going to be able to change that part of you. So I definitely like relate to that, just like being an adult now, and, you know, little things here and there kind of almost like trigger me in a sense where I'm like, oh wait, you know, I'm only doing this because of this thing that happened to me when I was a kid, or I used to be like this as a kid and I just never grew out of that because I never had the guidance. So
true. Yeah. Sometimes we have to like go back and be that like validating person for ourselves, because sometimes like you said, we're never going to get that in that moment again unless we give it to ourselves, really. And unless like those bullies from when you were younger, for example, come out as adults and give you that validation now, like which is very rare. Like it's pretty hard to heal that in any other way. So I think it's like so important to like sort of kind of parent ourselves in a weird way, or like be our own friend for that younger version of ourselves and have that big connection. I wanted to touch on what you said before, because I think that's so true, and it's a conversation we've spoken about privately heaps of times, like the whole notion of girls can't be funny, or like I'm also someone that has a lot of male friends, and I feel it's so refreshing to hear someone say the exact words that I feel inside, in terms of like, when I'm with them, I feel so comfortable to be myself, and it's not in a pick-me-girl way. I swear to God, it's not in a pick-me-girl way, but it is like, it's truly just because like they are so comfortable being themselves. I could say absolutely anything in front of them and they will like it's not seen as something like we're just making a joke, and they see me as equals. Luckily I have like male friends that do see me as an equal, which is very, like, I know is very, very fortunate. But I found that when I would then go into other settings with other males, for example, or even other female friendship groups, and I would be myself in that exact same way, which like has my guard down and is actually being as like annoying as I want to be, or as like or just as like talkative as I want to be. Silly or goofy or like just weird. I'd get like this look, and the look would make me feel so uncomfortable that I'm like, oh, it's time for me to shut up. This look reminds me of the looks I would get in primary school, and I need to shut up.
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh my gosh, you're like, it's like you kind of end up being like the target in those situations. And like, I had 3 best friends, Ethan, Luke, and Cole, growing up, and they awesome were like names. Brothers. Yeah, it's so natural. I talk about them so much that like even to this day, it's just like Ethan, Luke, and Cole. Like I just like
they're one.
They are one. Like
it's never Luke, Cole, and Ethan. Like,
it can't be.
Yeah.
So, but they were my best friends growing up. They were my brothers, and like even to this day, like especially like Luke and Cole, like we're constantly chatting and whatnot. But they, you know, made me feel like one of the guys. And like you mentioned too about, you know, like I swear I'm not a pick-me girl. Isn't it like so sad that we have to clarify that?
You have to say that.
Like the fact that you had to say that, like I get it though. Like the fact that it's like, I've known them since I was 4 years old. So like when people would make comments about, oh, she's just looking for other stuff from them. Like, I'm just like, well, you don't know me and you don't know that I've known them since I was 4. Like, and obviously when you're 4 years old, you're not looking for that kind of thing. And, people are so quick to judge and to say things about you whenever you're hanging around a group of guys. But when I got older and started hanging out with other like guy friends who I like love and respect so much, there are tendencies, there are things that like I'll pick up on where, either they're talking over me, they're cutting me off, they won't talk to me about certain things. I'm a huge nerd. I love like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, that kind of stuff.
Hell yes.
You're exactly like her.
Yeah.
I love Star Wars, but I can't get into Lord of the Rings, guys. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna retry for you guys.
But like I get so passionate about that stuff, or like even like zombies and like these things that are just stereotyped as like manly things that like I am so passionate about, that I want to talk about and I want to nerd out over. But whenever you go to like a group of guys who don't really see you as an equal, they make you feel so like inferior, like you're just like lesser than them. Like, and
I feel like they're Ravenclaws, like they're know-it-all boys.
Yeah, they're all Ravenclaws, right? This is why
100%.
Yeah, and it sucks that we have to say, we have to have disclaimers when talking about like important people in our life,
annoying,
100%.
It's ridiculous. And even like you mentioned, even just with like other girls too, I have this thing where I'm so scared of girls.
Me too. Oh my god,
I'm terrified.
Thank you for saying that. Oh my god,
I love
me
women
too,
but they scare the hell out of me because I never know.
Oh my god,
I'm the
exact same.
I can't
like
read.
I'm not gonna lie, before this interview today, I was nervous, and I get way more nervous before talking to the girls that we interview than the guys. I get way more nervous because I feel like I'm not gonna. I don't know what to say. And even, I don't know if you noticed at the start of this interview, I felt like I was being quiet because I had to work in myself. Just talk, Elle, because it's fine.
Yeah.
Like
it's safe.
It's safe. It's fine. She's cool.
Yeah.
She's cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
No, it's facts though. Like
it is
honestly.
facts.
Yeah,
I'm petrified.
Yeah.
Like actually petrified since I was young. I'm like, and it's not. I love women so much, and I'm very pro. Like I very much like believe in everything that like girls like the girls girl thing. But I think it's also a little bit toxic because I'm not considered a girls girl because I have a lot of male friends and I'm going to look at everyone equally. Like I find that really frustrating, but also
but it's just the experience that we've had growing up. Like at my school there wasn't a lot of girls, or at least I wasn't a part of their girls.
Absolutely.
Excluded from the group.
Yeah, exactly. So it's again, it's like we were saying before, it's hard to break away from that because that's what other girls taught us.
Yeah, literally, it's like I've like recently started to pick up on like, okay, this girl is like a girl's girl and like she'll support me, but like jealousy is so toxic. Like, because even when you're a kid, it's just like, a lot of people hated me because I was involved in so much. And at the time I didn't realize that it was because, I was good at things. And now that I'm older, I can recognize that. But, whenever people are jealous of you, they just tear you down. And I just can't get behind that mindset because if I see someone who's better than me, I want to become best friends with them, learn what they're doing, and I want to build from it. Like,
and
why do we have
them? Like, I want them to feel good about themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I want to hype them up.
So
like,
true.
and, like looking from the other perspective of someone who may not be a girl's girl, it could go back to just like that trauma of being taught that you have to be reserved. And whenever you're around other girls who aren't reserved and other girls who are, breaking that stereotype, it can get a little uncomfortable, or like it could go back, or it spins back around to like the jealousy thing where they're like, I wish I could be that very loud, outgoing person, and I could be like funny, and like I felt comfortable in doing that. So it could be just hard for other girls to break out of that habit, and it's so unfortunate, but it's also just really hard to keep people in your life who aren't going to support you,
100%. I think as well, like even just like the fact that for some people, like even just saying like understanding that it can be jealousy and it can be that, it's like even saying that to those type of people is them, like for a lot of people, they'll listen to that and be like, oh, like as if she already think, like those people that are not girls will take that sentence incorrectly and be like,
Absolutely.
oh, well, she thinks. And it's like a hard, because you can't really win sometimes in those scenarios. You've just got to like live your life and realize that like if someone's trying to tear you down, especially at a young age, that like you just have to believe that like every single time someone's reacting in like that kind of, that sort of mood, like that from coming from guilt, jealousy, shame, anything like that, it's, or like meanness at that age, it's all because they are triggered because they either see something within you that they are not, like they're denying in their self. And I think that's true even for like myself at certain times in life. Like when I would see, when in the time phase of my life where I like shut myself down and I would never, I was basically like a mute at school because I was like, I'm too scared to talk. I can't talk. I'm not allowed to be part of these conversations. But as soon as I saw someone else be part of those conversations and was able to act the way I know I can be and be as a funny girl like I know I could be, and they get all like, they get praised for it. I remember thinking like, why does she get to be like that and I can't be like that? And that's just because I'm not allowing myself to be like that. Yeah. It's not anyone else's fault but my own. So whether you're a girl's girl or not a girl's girl, I really hope you're listening to this and like reflecting inwards, because we all go through those phases. Yeah. But it's Absolutely. How we choose to look at them afterwards and like reflect afterwards.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm like working so, because it's hard even for girls to be girls, because sometimes girls can make you really mad, and like I said, they're scary. So like I have this habit of like just over reading people and being like, I have major trust issues because of how, you know, like I was treated and how we were treated growing up and being surrounded by girls, whether that be in school or in a sport or like wherever. It's so hard. And I think it all comes down to just, you know, that stereotype of girls can say things and there are things that they like can't say, but then, you know, there are things that we can't wear, like as adults, like things that we can't wear, things that we can't do. And it's just this ongoing thing throughout our lives that we're always being told like what we can and can't do, while, you know, the guys are just a little bit more,
they're more free-range chickens, whereas we're caged chickens.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. Even when we're interested, like you said before, like when we've got an interest that like we couldn't, as a girl, you couldn't possibly be as interested in cars as this guy. Yeah. Or you couldn't possibly be as interested in like
comics or Star Wars, or Lord of the Rings. Like that's always been an issue for me.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh, like,
yeah. And there's some groups of people where like that will be accepted and they're like, oh no, she's like, she actually gets it. Like you get to talk about something, people like, oh no, she actually understands what she's talking about. But then there's other people that will still just be in denial about that. Or there'll be like, I've had situations where I've been very into like, I used to play soccer. I used to be very into like just not boyish things, but like into boy conversations and stuff like that. And I'd have, I remember hearing like a group of girls tell me that like say like, oh, you know, you just do that because like you want their attention. And I'm like, no, I genuinely have interest in this topic. I genuinely have interest in this type of music. And I'm not like trying to make conversation with them about something they like. I'm talking to them about something I like. That you like. And the rules, and it's not even just boys or just girls that judge. It's like, it's just everyone has this opinion of like, preconceived notion of like why anyone does anything, and it's just not fair. Like it stops people from being themselves.
We can't just
you can't just like stuff.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
Like why can't I can't like have a brain of my own? Like it's really frustrating. And you know, tying into like the music stuff and what I'm doing now, it's like a lot of the music that I've been writing, in fact my next release, I'm not really sure yet when it's going to be out, is a song called Voodoo Barbie, and it's actually
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's a song about specifically it's about like a past relationship where you know, I was happy with this person, and you know, everyone around me like would say like, you know, I can't speak for myself, and that he's kind of like controlling me, and he was innocent, like he wasn't, you know, controlling me in any way, but everybody just had this idea that because I was the girl in the relationship and I was growing, and now I'm an adult, I can like speak for myself and I think for myself, and I've changed since I've left my hometown. And so whenever I go back and I do things like, you know, like I showed up at my ex's house and I, you know, flipped like on him for like saying some really nasty things about a friend. I crashed.
Yeah.
I like crashed his like party or whatever, and like I, with a friend, with said friend, the person he was talking about, and I was, I was speaking my mind basically, and after that situation happened, everyone in my small town heard about it and started blaming my boyfriend at the time and stuff, and it was just so annoying because I was just like, it's only because he's my boyfriend, and you think like, oh, Mary's like sweet little Mary, like this girl who can't like think for herself. So it's like the same kind of thing that we're talking about, and so I'm really excited to call it, to release it, and I called it Voodoo Barbie specifically because it's like,
I really like that.
I'm not a
that
Voodoo Barbie
sense.
like I'm not this like pretty thing, like girl thing that people can just control and manipulate, So
very clever.
Because it's so, it like actually makes so much sense. And I think that I can agree that like a lot of people that are in, like even my friends in relationships and probably vice versa, like it's so easy to automatically have an assumption of what you think your friend is like, or what you think like someone that you went to high school is like, and assume that they're still that same type of person. But realistically, sometimes they're masking in front of you that whole time as well. And it's not their partner that's ruining their life, or it's not their partner that's the reason why they are setting boundaries in their life. They probably just feel comfortable and are learning and like growing as a person, as we all do. Mm-hmm. And they want to just like, you just want to set boundaries and grow and do your thing. And it's no one else's, like, no one is that highly influenced by someone else in their life. They have to make their own choices and decisions. And I think, it's interesting that they automatically assume that like it had to be him to influence you.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's like a common thing that people do. It's like you start dating someone new, and all of a sudden, like if you change throughout that relationship, it's not you changing and it's not you growing. It's because you're with said person. And that's not always the case.
Changing you.
100%. I think the same goes with like how people make that assumption about people that get married or have children. Like it's the same sort of thing. Like, oh, they had a kid and then they changed, but like no, like they're growing. They're on a, like doing something completely different. They're learning every single day something new every single day. Of course, they're not going to be the same person that they were before that. Of course, they're going to have different boundaries and a different lifestyle. So it's a good reminder even for ourselves, because I'm sure all of us get caught up in thinking that way sometimes. Like it's a good reminder to realize like actually like people are growing more than we think and we give them credit for, and like it's not always like in a negative way. Like maybe it's like changed your relationship with that person, but it doesn't mean that like they're actually a worse person.
Yeah, definitely. And like it was kind of funny because like the people around me when this situation happened, whenever I showed up at this like party or whatever with my friends, I solely went there with, this is closure and this is me getting things off of my chest, because like it wasn't just me. It was like, he was going after a friend of ours who didn't deserve it. And I think everyone who knew me at the time was like, Mary would do that. Like, no way, like people who just knew me and had like that experience with me, they saw me grow. They were like, I don't know why everyone's blaming, her boyfriend, because like this is so something Mary would do. And that just goes to show, people are just quick to judge and make these assumptions, and most of the time they're not true. So
it's so true. I feel like the person that like anyone was in, especially in like high school, or like that you like in the area you grew up in, and how people like perceive you from that time, like that's almost like the most like hidden version of you, because like that's the people that like your main community, that it's a bit harder to like, especially people that are not your close friends or your family, like they're the people that did judge you in primary school or high school. They're the people that like did like that you were afraid of their reactions, their responses, because like think about, you just went to to his party and spoke to him, right? Like why did the whole town have to know? Like
exactly.
Like
that's how small towns are.
Yeah, that's how small towns are. I know, but like, but that's why internally you're just like, oh well, if I do this, I know everyone's going to know, so I'm not going to act like my full self in front of these people. So like their perceptions of us even then are like the people I probably went to high school with probably thought I was the most quiet, like prudish little, like doesn't talk to anyone, doesn't like, very very girly girl, and I'm very like, I have a podcast because I don't shut up, like so like it's so different, like so it'd be interesting to see. It's cool like to see as you continue your career and grow further and further, like how people will be surprised that like, oh my god, like she like that version of her that I once knew is like, she's letting herself be her full self now.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Exactly. And I get a little bit of that every now and then. Like now, like I get people texting me from like elementary, middle school, and they're like,
wow,
you're coming up on my For You page like crazy. And it's like, whether I had a good relationship with them or not in that time, like they're reaching out to like say that and like support me. Like,
so lovely.
It's such a good feeling too, especially just, you know, because whenever I was younger, that's the type of thing, those were the type of things that I dreamed about, you know? I was like, one day I want them all to see like that, you know, I'm making something of myself and that this is all like worth it. And the fact that I'm starting to see that now, it's kind of surreal. It's really cool. I'm like,
that is amazing. That's very full circle and kind of healing.
Yeah,
absolutely. For your inner child as well.
Yeah. Healing is such a good word for it. I'm like at this this point in my life, which is why I really loved like that question about what would you ask or what would you say to your younger self. I'm at this point in my life where, you know, things are looping back around, like Demi Lovato liking that video, and
amazing.
You know, I'm releasing the music in the style of what I used to listen to when I was a kid, and I'm really kind of growing into myself. But as I'm growing into myself, I'm reverting back to, you know, this time period where I was still learning and I was still like growing as a musician. It's just kind of crazy how it's going in a circle, but
I know.
I'm loving it.
It's like deep down, like, do we ever really change?
No, our core is the same.
Like our core, exactly right. Our core, our inner child will always remain the same, no matter how much we were in our teenagers or early 20s where we were trying to break the mold and trying to really put ourselves out, that we still revert to that part of ourselves.
Yeah, that's where it feels. That's us.
Yeah,
it feels like when you think of your true self, you think of that little girl sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that like. Yeah, I feel like it's like who you are at your deepest core, and like no matter what happens, it becomes full. I always find that like when I do like future self like meditations and stuff like that, or like visualization exercises, I always see my future self as the version of me that is closest to my 5-year-old self.
Yeah.
Like this very, like almost like the purest version of me, and not in like pure in the sense of like sweet and kind and like euphoric, like pure as in like the version of me that was raw.
Yeah, just
that was
authentic.
Like, authentic and raw and like would like feel every emotion she felt and scream if she wanted to scream and like do like talk about her opinions and babble on and like I think, I really feel like that is actually like, it's meant to go in that path. It's meant to go into like, you just find you reconnecting with like the version of you that was first born, weirdly.
Yeah. And if you think about it too, when we're kids, like we don't, like at a certain age, up until a certain age, when you're a kid, you don't really care like about what you say or do. You kind of do things like nobody's watching, and that's how you learn. You know, people will tell you no, people will say, you know, people will laugh like or whatever, but up until a certain age you're super carefree and you're just doing whatever the heck you want because there's no embarrassment there, you know.
It's so true.
And then we become self-aware, and sometimes it's like for the worse, and you know, we shut down and we hide who we are, but do we ever change who we are? You know what I mean?
I really don't think so. And I actually find myself, because like I was saying before, my son is nearly 4, and sometimes I watch him when he doesn't realize that I'm watching him. And I think to myself, to be that free again, like I don't know if we ever really reach that freedom ever again. Like, it's just so wonderful to watch him just do whatever he truly feels like.
Yeah.
Like, he feels it and he does it.
Yeah.
And it's like, with just that freedom, that innocence, like, it's fleeting for us. Like, it's just awesome.
Yeah. And having a kid, too, like, I can't imagine just, like, I would be thinking about that 24/7. Like, with, like,
it's honestly what I do think about 24/7. Like, having a kid has brought up a lot of like triggering memories from when I was a kid, but it's also brought a lot of wholesome, he has healed my inner child in certain ways as well.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic.
So that's amazing. Yeah, I'm excited well, maybe not anytime soon, but I am excited to experience that with.
Take your time.
Oh, I definitely will. I have no plans in the near future.
No. Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. No. Tell our audience where they can find like you on any platform, if there's any new, like any shows coming up, anything you would like to plug.
Yeah, so you can find me at Walk on Mars Band. That is kind of like the username for all of my social platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it. And then walkonmarsband.com is my website with my merchandise and any like upcoming performances.
Thank you so much, Mary, for joining us.
Yeah.
We had so much fun. Thank you so much, Walk on Mars, for being on our podcast. We appreciate it so much. And we loved talking to you.
We did indeed. And you guys should definitely go follow and subscribe to anything of theirs.
Anything that she does.
Yes, anything.
Feeling all right, Elle?
I actually am. You know, I think for the first time I don't have a stomachache.
Hey!
Yeah. It's been a very, very, very chill episode.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very fly, very...
Fly?
Yeah. I'm just sitting here admiring your wall again. It's just so special to me.
Yeah, so's yours. What's your favourite parts of yours?
Of mine, I actually think I love Shrek, to be honest.
Yeah, Shrek's cool.
He's got for those listening, I've got like a picture of Shrek behind me that he's being all like very what would you call him?
It makes you realize people around the world are experiencing such different things at different times, you know, like, and all at the same time as well. Yeah, and it's just really wonderful to see all those things, and I really wish I could say to Steve, because it would really be, my inner child would thrive and love it if I did, but I'm too aware of what it would be like when he's filming these things.
I get what you're saying.
And it takes me out of the moment.
So you're seeing it from Steve's perspective rather than from Elle's perspective.
Yeah. How do I get out of that? How do I get back into Elle's perspective?
I don't know. Maybe you need to like look for a clue.
Maybe I do.
Your chair kind of is Steve. Maybe you're too involved as Steve right now. You are Steve because you've got your own little Baloo, like your child, and like maybe you gotta get into your child.
That's true.
Yeah. Maybe having him behind you now will help.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, you know, he's there. We've got Magenta there. Blue's up here.
Oh my God, I forgot her name was Magenta.
Yeah, of course. She's the colour of magenta.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
Anyways.
My favourite part about us printing off all these things and putting it behind us is we got we printed them off at Kmart. I tried to say printed. Like printed them off. We printed them. And I went and picked them up, and then I was going through them with Elle earlier, and we noticed that they accidentally gave us some random boy's picture.
And they look like nice boys.
They look sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although I'm trying to think, how old is this photo? Because
I don't know.
They look very like Mother Days.
Yeah, they look dressed like Guidos, but Guidos from our area, so it doesn't really make any sense.
From like our era of Guidos.
Like,
and I swear to God, they're wearing G-Star jeans.
I know. Those jeans are not these days jeans.
Nah, no way. So, a lot of questions about this photo. Are they in like a house that hasn't been done with renos? I can't tell.
It looks like it's a really empty house.
Yeah.
There's so much to it, guys. I think we're going to keep it on our table for the whole of our
keep it.
And it's just... They'll just like watch over us. We were saying before, imagine they have like, they're both two people with the same name as well. And it's like that they're like our spirit guides.
They're in a parallel universe.
Yes.
Oh no, that's not right. Not parallel. In another, like in the multiverse. In the multiverse.
Oh my God, they're us.
Their names are Elliot or Miguel.
Oh,
Miguel. Yes.
Elliot, Miguel.
Yes.
Eli.
Michelle.
Oh
yeah.
Eli.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. I wonder if we'll ever see them in the face-to-face days.
I don't think I'll recognize them, but that mustache is pretty recognizable.
I know.
This fella on the left has the straightest mustache I've ever seen.
It reminds me of the mustache from Lazy Town. A
Lazy
little bit.
Town?
You know that I think I told you about Lazy Town the other day, but I don't think you watched Lazy Town. I evidently watched every cartoon show well into my teen years. So yeah. One day, but just everyone should know that they are going to forever be part of the podcast now.
They're on our table. Mm-hmm. They're on our table. These mystery boys.
Mystery men.
We'll see. They look significantly younger than us, though. I'm gonna say early 20s.
Yeah.
Maybe even 19.
Or they could be older than us and that was an old photo.
Oh, yeah. That would make a lot more sense. I don't know. I'm confused.
The jeans
are throwing me and they both look like they have paint on them. That's why I'm like, were they just doing work but then put on a Versace top? I'm very confused. Yeah.
Oh, no, but he has a tattoo there. So if it was back in the day, definitely older than us.
Yes.
There's so much you can work out from just a photo.
So much, yes.
From just a photo.
Yes.
Anyway.
Anyway. Oh.
I don't know. It's a very cool quip. I'm just cool quip. Anyway.
All right, shall we end it there, Elle?
We shall end it there.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Sometimes we ramble, yes. But I think some little golden nuggets are in there.
Yes. Buy your bananas in 2 separate bunches.
Come on, that is literally genius.
It is.
Come on, guys. Common sense as well.
Anyway.
All right, thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for listening.
Some shares behind you.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.